Is this true about Jey Uso? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you whether or not it is, because in my opinion, I think it's false, and I think this narrative going around about him is completely wrong, and I have factual evidence as to why it is wrong. Look, Jey Uso 2024 has been a great year for him. We've seen him as a singles. We've seen him part of the Bloodline once again. I mean, heck, they're coming out of War Games, that Survivor Series. It was CM Punk aligning himself with Roman Reigns, aligning himself with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn, the OG bloodline of the four, minus CM Punk, gravitating once again together to come together, reunite for a common goal, and that is to take on the new bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and the Tongas. Oh, by the way, Bronson Reed, who's actually a very good addition to that group. Jey Uso, though, he's been at the top as far as the singles guy is going. He's been at the top in terms of being a tag team guy. Now, obviously, he's not been world champion yet, but I think that's going to happen eventually. I mean, he's main event Jey Uso. What we've seen with Jey Uso in 2024 has been nothing but awesome. He has risen to the occasion and been able to gravitate towards the fans in a bigger way, becoming more over as a babyface, not only becoming a top star on Monday Night Raw, but also becoming a top star in WWE. That's what he's been able to do. And when he was aligned at first with his brother Jimmy, where they were starting to go, I had a lot of fear. I was fearful of what they would do with Jey Uso. Would they just automatically scrap all of the momentum, all of the goodwill that he had with the fan base on Monday Night Raw as a single star, in options of going back to a tag team player with his brother Jimmy, because I don't think Jimmy can swim on his own as a single star. I think he's a tag team guy, and that's fine. A lot of people are, and he's one of the best to do it in terms of being a tag team with his brother Jey Uso. I think the Usos are the greatest modern day tag team of the last 20 years. Here is the point of this video. I have noticed that there's a little bit less talk of Jey Uso on social media, just a little bit, and to the point where fans think that he has taken a back seat. He's not as over as he once was before going into the Bloodline storyline, and I strongly disagree. Social media engagement is still up if you look for it. His television ratings, his quarter hours, whenever he appears, is up. He is still one of WWE's top merchandise sellers. I mean, he was the top fourth best merchandise seller of 2024 in WWE, only behind the likes of CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and the other one that evades my memory at this point. He is still someone that is super duper over on Raw as a single guy, as well as part of the bloodline on SmackDown. You cannot make the argument that Jey Uso has cooled off when he is right in the thick of the best storyline that WWE has done in the last 10 years, 20 years maybe if ever. This storyline is continuously going hotter and hotter and hotter, and just because you, the minority, may be sick of it, doesn't mean that it's not an overact. Myself included, I had to come to grips with, okay, you can still have pushing Jey Uso as a singles guy on Raw while he's also still aligned with the bloodline without him taking a step back. Just because he's aligned with his brother doesn't mean that he is losing all of the forward momentum that he made as a singles guy. I was wrong in that belief, and I've since changed my mind on that. If you look at it like that, of, okay, we're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting the best of Jey Uso as a singles guy, and we're getting the best of Jey Uso as part of the bloodline. Aligning himself with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, two of WWE's biggest stars in the last, I don't know, decade. And I understand Punk's only been back for a year, but you get the gist, right? Like, Punk's a huge, huge name. He draws a lot of money for them. Jey Uso is still a top merchandise seller, and more importantly, he still gets some of the biggest reactions across any show, whether that be Raw, SmackDown, or PLEs. The guy is super duper over. I mean, if you just go back a few weeks ago when they were in Saudi Arabia, the ovation, the reaction in which he got from the Saudi Arabia fan base was absolutely staggering. I mean, these guys were into Jey Uso. And so if you're just talking about overness, yeah, Jey Uso has never been more over. You got to keep in mind that WWE at a time where they were positioning him to realign back with the bloodline, he was the Intercontinental Champion. He won the Intercontinental Championship to essentially shut up people like me who were calling out WWE for failing to do right by Jey Uso by giving him a singles championship. And oh, by the way, how did they thank us for our appreciation? They went and booked him a few weeks as champion, only to lose it right back to Braun Breaker. And he still could have been Intercontinental Champion and still been aligned with the bloodline, right? It was such a mismatch of a booking decision, in my opinion, when it comes to Jey Uso. But hey, that's just what they did. That's what they thought. That's what they did. And at the end of the day, we can't do a dang thing about it. But what we can do is this. We can continue to support Jey Uso. We can continue to talk about him on social media. We can continue to talk about him on social media and tune into his segments and buy his merch and give him an ovation when he appears and keep talking about Jey Uso. If we want WWE to take notice of Jey Uso and believe that he can be a top guy, that he can be a true main eventer, a future world champion, which I do believe that is the case, you have to support Jey Uso. And at the end of the day, regardless of whether he's a singles guy or is he part of the bloodline, as long as they're keeping him on television, as long as they're having him win matches and win big matches at that, my friends, is all that matters, because the proof is in the pudding. Some people will say that wins and losses don't matter. I say BS. I say wins and losses do matter. I think you have to believe in someone in order for them to get over even more. How do you believe in someone when it comes to being a wrestler? It comes down to seeing them be victorious. If you want a babyface to get over, you have them win matches. If you want a heel to get over, you have them get heat. It's a reality of the situation. You get a babyface over by winning matches and going over the heel that you want to see lose. You have to build them up. You have to get heat on the heel. And at the end of the day, the babyface has to get over to the point where they win the match and the fans go nuts at the end of the match. That's how you do it. Booking pro wrestling is not that hard if you just look at it in a simplistic way like that. Where it gets difficult is trying to sustain that type of booking for 6 a year, 5 years down the road, trying to add in great storylines, building up different people. But at the end of the day, if you just want to get over someone, that's how you do it. You take a great babyface and you pair them up with a greater heel. How can we get this guy over? Well, we have them go over someone that we want fans to pay to see get their butt whooped, right? Or shut up, or whatever kind of analogy you want to make. At the end of the day, that's how you do it. It's always how it's been done. It's how it always will get done. And that is the bottom line on that. Man, I just feel like I cut a promo like Steve Austin there for a minute. My apologies on that, but I'm very passionate about it, and I believe in Jey Uso very strongly, and I hope you do as well.